Hello friends! I have a story you might not believe, but it's absolutely true. I found 5 of the Miniverse Harry Potter Potions collection ultra rares, all at the same store and all at the same time. As you can see, I couldn't wait to open one to see if it was truly a rare. As soon as I got to the car, I ripped it open and voila! The reason I wasn't sure is because there were reports from other Miniverse collectors online that different waves of releases had different pinhole locations to look for. MGA, the company that makes the Miniverse toys, manufactures and releases these kits in different waves spread out over several months. The first wave of the Harry Potter Potions was released with INT0 on the label. The 5 kits in this video were all marked either INT2 or INT3, which signaled that they were later releases. This tends to hold true. MGA will sometimes announce the rares to look for in a collection months before they are actually included in the case shipments to their retailers. It was said online that the INT2 releases could have pinholes on the left side of the label, while the INT3 could have pinholes on the right side. Of course, there are no guarantees that the pinhole hacks are accurate. Really, only MGA knows for sure. The 5 I found, even though they were marked INT2 and INT3, all had pinholes on the left side of the label, which is why I wasn't sure they were truly the rares. And as I unbox these, I'll show you each label, which release is marked on the label, as well as where the pinhole was found. Later in this video, I will also share with you a cheat sheet I've made showing all the possible pinhole location for the 3 rares. You can use this as a guide to help you look for the rares, but as always, no guarantees. Your results may be different. So let's see what we've got inside. Now this one says INT3 on the label, and you can see that the pin is on the left side of the label and lower than all of the little squares on the side. And the booklet says that we've got the Potted Mandrake. He's wrapped in newspaper of some sort, and oh my gosh, what a face. That is adorable. I want to save this little newspaper, but man, this is wrapped up tight with this elastic cord. So let's get this off as carefully as we can. And here he is. Let me give you a little more close-up. Boy, I'll tell you, whoever does the sculpting for these little miniatures for Miniverse is just wonderful. That is so detailed. This is the way Miniverse expects you to finish him, but you're burying half of the fun. He's cute all the way down to his little root toes, so I don't plan to make mine that way. You'll see that later in the video. And you know I love the packaging. This is the newspaper that the Mandrake was wrapped up in. I love to iron paper. Don't ask me why. And so this has been ironed flat so that you can read it. Potter lies low. It's so cute. They've got horoscopes. They've got death notices, in memoriam. Wonderful little tidbits on this newspaper. This is a keeper for sure. In every one of the potions kits, you get one of these blue bags, tincture number 3, and inside are the pieces that are used to make the container. This is the actual ball that everything comes in. You snap all of this onto the top. You put a base for a little table into the bottom, snap that all together, and then when you finish it all off, you have a potions bottle with a table inside that you can use for display. This red bag also comes in every single one of the potions, even the rares, and it usually has utensils. For the Mandrake, you get a trowel. In every one of the potions kits, you get a little potion bag, and inside here is usually the additive that you're going to put into your resin or into your potions bottle. For the Mandrake, you get a little container of flesh-eating slug repellent. Boy, do I wish I had some of that slug repellent last summer. This is actual footage of my front porch one night when I forgot to bring the cat food inside after dark. But I digress. Also in the potions bag is the potting mix that you'll use to plant your Mandrake. You get this green bag. This usually has the vial that you will use to make your creation with. And of course for the Mandrake, it's going to be a terracotta pot. And here's everything that you need to pot your Mandrake. Very, very cute. Okay, the next ball, I wanted to show you, this has the pinhole in the exact same location to the left side of the label, but this is an INT2 ball. The other was INT3. So even though they're marked differently as far as the code goes, the pinhole was in exactly the same place. And you can see very clearly before I even open the ball that this is another Mandrake. Now this is another ball, but this pinhole is inside the little square to the bottom left on the left side of the label. And this is an INT2. So let's open this one up and see what we've got inside. And this is the Sleeping Draught Cupcakes. Inside this little wrap is your cake icing. This is actually the resin that you're going to use. You'll be putting it on top of the little cupcakes. This is the wrapper it was in. It's a Hogwarts school list for first years. Gives you the list of everything you need to be successful your first year at Hogwarts. Another one of the school lists inside has a bag of sprinkles and a little mortar and pestle. And in the red utensils bag, you get a long-handled spoon and a really great knife, and that way you can ice the top of your cupcakes. The potions bag has the cupcakes themselves. What a cool, oh, and look, there's also a little jar. Now that's the potion. See the little magic symbol on the front? So when you open this little box up, this is what's gonna have your cupcakes inside. Oh, look, it has the Hogwarts label. Okay, that's very neat. Take all this wrapper off, and inside are your vanilla cupcakes. You get a set of 4. It's amazing how real they look. Inside this bag is a very pretty little presentation plate. Now see, Miniverse is great. They didn't have to put that gold on there, but look how shiny and pretty that is. This is terrific. Here's everything that you need to make Sleeping Draught Cupcakes. On the next ball, it is a INT2. The pinhole is in a new location. It's at the top left of the left-hand side of the label. Now remember how I had already opened one ball? When I did, it was Dolores Umbridge's tea set. And I can tell by looking inside this ball, it is the tea set because of those 2 paper doilies that you can see very clearly. So we won't bother opening this ball up. We'll open up the other one that I had already previously opened, and I'll show you all the pieces to that. Here's the booklet that shows that it is in fact Dolores Umbridge's tea set. This one includes a proclamation. Now, this is the only one of all of the 15 of this potions collection that has this kind of little proclamation added in. Just a nice little extra piece. Here are the aforementioned doilies. One is a little bit larger than the other. In the utensils bag, curiously, there was only 1 teaspoon. In the school list wrapper is the English tea. Now, my girly girl in me loves all that pink. That is really pretty. Inside the school list, oh look, isn't that something? There's your teapot. It is just amazing. The detail, and it's shiny. It looks like pewter. The lid comes off. They just do such a wonderful job on these little tiny pieces inside these sets. And inside the green bag, here are the teacups and the saucers. Oh yay, there's the other teaspoon. I wonder why they put one in one bag and one in another, but at least we have 2 teaspoons. And in the potions bag, these both contain some sort of a potion. The sugar jar has actual powdery white, and I think the bottle's supposed to be milk, but it might also be the truth serum that Umbridge puts in her tea. And here's everything you'll get in the kit for Dolores Umbridge's tea set. Here is a chart showing the known locations of the pinholes for the rares in the Miniverse Harry Potter Potions collection. Feel free to take a screenshot of this chart to help you as you look for the rares to add to your set. I've included the pinholes that have been found on both the INT2 and INT3 releases, but remember, I found all of my rares with the pinholes on the label to the left regardless of the release code. Now let's go back to our Mandrake. As I said before, he is too cute to bury. So these are the pieces that I'm going to be using to make my example of the Mandrake. I have extra clear UV resin in my own bottle. I have a flashlight that will cure the resin, tweezers, a little silicone cup, a paintbrush, and then the pieces from the Mandrake kit. And I've got everything on a blue silicone mat because boy, I'll tell you, I can make a mess with this resin. Here's our pot, and I think I'm going to start by filling about halfway with some tin foil. That way I don't have to use too much of that soil. And you know, when Miniverse made this, they expect that the Mandrake's going to take up a big chunk of that pot. Well, since I'm not sticking him in there, I filled it up with tin foil. Here is the soil, quote unquote. Look, it even has little rocks in it. Isn't that something? It's a real spongy, stringy kind of material. It has a great texture, and it definitely has some sort of a resin in it so that when it's put in UV light, it will cure and harden. Pat that down just a little bit, and then I am going to give it some of my UV flashlight to get it to cure just a little bit hard. Next, we're going to use our Mandrake. I want him to look like he's escaping straight out of the soil, so we're going to put a little bit of soil on his root legs. And I do that by using my clear resin. So we're going to put some resin straight on his legs. And even if the resin shows after curing, it will just look like it's wet, like water. Now, this soil is not the easiest to work with, I must say. And I had to kind of be a little fussy with it and just keep playing with it and moving it around until I got it just exactly the way I wanted it. I didn't want to put too much and cover up all the detail of the sculpture of that wonderful mandrake. So when I got it the way I wanted it, I was sure to move the resin and the soil out of the way so it wouldn't cure. And then I just zapped the mandrake with my flashlight to cure the little bit of soil I put on. Then I go back and I put some more soil on. So you put a little bit on, cure it, put a little bit more on, cure that. That really is the best way, is to do it just a small amount at a time. And that way, as long as you haven't cured it, if you make a mistake, you can wipe it off and start over until you get it just the way you want. I also decided that this was a little too clumpy, so by adding some of the clear resin and kind of smooshing it around, I was able to liquefy the soil just a little bit, make it a little bit easier to spread, because I wanted a nice thin coating in certain areas on the mandrake. I didn't want to have just big giant clumps. Of course, I still have a few clumps, but you can see as I spread it around that it mostly looks just kind of muddy, and that's exactly what I wanted it to look like. So here he is in the front with all of his mud all over him, all of his soil. So let's turn him over and let's put a little bit on the back too. So let's add our mandrake to our pot. Now I wanted to pose him in such a way that you see all the detail, plus you see his little smiling face looking up at you. And to secure him to the pot, I just use a little drop of clear resin. And again, if this cures and you still see it, it will just look like a drop of water. So it works out just great. So I start with just his little hand root. Is it a hand or is it a root? I'm not sure what to call it. I'll call it a little hand and put him in place. And after that's cured, I go on to his little toe roots. I wanted his right toes to stay in the soil, but his left toes to kind of be hanging out over the edge. Look at those little toes. Come on, that is so cute. And I was a little worried that he might be top heavy, but as you can see, as I'm curing him here, he's just fine. He's going to stand up on his own, just exactly the way I want him to. Now let's add some soil around him. Not a lot. Again, I don't want to cover up too much of the detail, but I want to put a little bit in the front, little bit in the back. I don't mind if it shows that it's spilling over because he's disrupted the soil as he's climbed out of his little pot. And as you can see, resin has a mind of its own, and I have to kind of keep mushing it around until I get it in a place that I like it. And I don't know that this soil is really going to cure that well with my flashlight, so I've decided to add some clear resin to the top of the soil and cure that, because I want that soil to be nice and solid so that he doesn't move around very much. And I wanted to add some soil coming down the left side of the pot to kind of even out the sculpture. You know, he's sticking out to the right side with his little toes. So to kind of even out the balance, I wanted some soil coming down the left side. You're gonna see as I do this that I've got way too much. And as I cure it and as I play with it and as I add a little extra resin so that it will really stick to where I want it to stick, you'll see that some of it starts to fall off. And I decided, you know what, that's absolutely fine because there's too much on there to begin with anyway. So in the end, I was very happy with the amount of soil that was left and the placement of the soil. And look at that. I think he looks really cute. Let's add some slug repellent, just a little bit. When you open this up, it's really kind of interesting. There are little rocky pieces that are kind of a green, and then there are round balls that are pink. And of course, that's supposed to be like a fertilizer that you put into a plant. So to place those, I just put little drops of clear resin here and there, and then I just start placing the little balls around, put a couple on his little toes, and I do a little bit, and then I cure, then I do a little bit more, and then I cure it again, and that way I get him pretty much placed exactly where I want him to be. Of course, don't forget to put some in the back too. We want to make a nice rounded sculpture. So there you have it. There's our finished escaping mandrake, and I just love him. And that's exactly the idea I had in mind. I wanted to be able to see the whole mandrake as much as possible. I just think he is so darling. It worked out better than I expected. I'm very pleased. And I have some special ideas for what I'm going to do with the tea set and the cupcakes. I'm going to save that for another video. If you enjoyed this video, got some value out of it, I would appreciate it if you would hit the like button, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe so you see the other crazy things I decide to do with these Harry Potter potion rares. And as always, thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you next time.